One part is skills. There's no doubt about that. There is a serious lack of talent in the system. Now, if India's growth is to be powered even more from the services side and also, this is not a binary now, also from manufacturing. So the amount of skills that are needed now, the talent, that's something which is in short supply. Remember, this is a global phenomenon. This is not just India. This is a global phenomenon. But in India, to sustain a 6.5% growth, and remember that 6.5% growth is also servicing some part of the developed markets in the system. So given that, I think that's one thing that we need to really fix. My second point is, I think from a consumption perspective, so that's part of the supply. From a demand perspective, we need to now seriously think on how best to broad base the demand, because my sense is, and backed by a fair bit of data on this, that this is increasingly concentrated in the top 1 or 2 or 3 deciles. And how this needs to be broad based, I think, is also very, very important.
One means of widening the base is through economic empowerment. For long, majority of Indians have lived outside the Indian economy looking in, not any longer. The NDA has pursued the access to electricity, cooking gas, housing, drinking water on mission mode. So it's not surprising then that they have managed to lift 415 million people out of poverty.
You're absolutely right. This is one part of the solution that we were talking about in terms of broad basing demand in the system. So to a very large extent, some of the basic necessities, particularly in remote areas, very poor households, etc., those needs have been met. Access to those needs have been met. Remember, it's just the access. A gas connection or an electricity connection, you still have to pay for it. So even at subsidized rates or whatever, it's only the cereals, the food that is being given free. The rest, even at subsidized rates, there's a payment that is required. So one, we need to see how to increase disposable incomes to meet some of those the items where access is provided. Secondly, and more importantly, I think both aspirations as well as the next step of consumption-led growth is to enable, and even from the supply side, remember that we were talking about, is now to enable access to opportunity, access to talent, to skills, health, education. Some of these basic things is now needed, because this is what will now push more this demographic dividend that we keep on talking about, to match this dividend with the talent and skills that are needed, is, I think, the next step now. Within a very short period of time, some of the basic necessities, etc., will be largely met. Now, how to increase incomes, number one, and via incomes now to provide more access to healthcare, education, basic necessities, and which are the basics that will be needed at some point in time to build up the skill sets required for the next phase of sustainable.